If you care about the community, why not stay there and change it?
Does anybody else move?
What do you mean?
Who the hell else don't move? How do you think suburbs were created?
But wait a minute.
What do you mean? How do you think white flight was created? So everybody else get to move, but we can't move? Do you know why? Because when African Americans were living in black neighborhoods, they also had economically depressed housing values, and the reality is they were not able to
change it. Help change it.
Are you serious? Yeah. Do you even know today?
He has a point, but you can hear the ignorance in his tone and in his responses, right? We've been trying to change it. And if he knew anything about history, then he would understand that we had our own communities and they were all destroyed and bombed. And so when you look at places like Tulsa, Lake Lanier was a black civilization before it was a lake, and the government approved for it to be a lake after it was destroyed. A lot of people that are not of our culture, of the black culture, don't understand that we've had moments in history in this country where we were thriving and we were minding our own business, like we've been trying to do since civil rights. And when we start to thrive, someone or some group of people will come in and try to dominate it as if we are still back in the days when it was just the 13 colonies, right? And so with that being said, you can clearly tell that he's very naive to history. He's very ignorant to a lot of black history, and he's tone deaf and he's very dismissive. I'm starting to believe that he's trolling because there's no way that I shouldn't say there's no way, but I feel like there's no way you can be doing this for a living. You can be sharing information, having real intellectual conversations, and not even aware of these type of things. But let's let them cook.
We've done the stories in Florida when somebody's black selling their house, the appraisers will come in and literally give them a value $100,000 to $300,000 less because they're black.
That is true. That is very true. And I'm gonna let him finish. But that man, I got so much to say about that.
Take one story and say that.
Oh my God!
On how many occasions has that happened?
I'm gonna cut him off, and I'm gonna give him occasion. I'm gonna give him an occasion, all right? Because he said that's one story. I'll give you two, sir. Our story. Me and my wife bought our home around 2018, a couple years before the pandemic. Pandemic hits. The market is going crazy. Stock market's going crazy. Real estate is all over the place. So now there's low interest rates. We try to capitalize off that interest rate. All right. And so, capitalize off that interest rate, capitalize off of lower interest rates. So what ends up happening, we reach out to the original broker that had our loan until they found a bank that would fully accept it. No, he reached out to us. I'm sorry. He reached out to us, but he was so last minute. You know, we were trying to get paperwork together. We were trying to get cashier's checks. We missed out on that opportunity. So we were pissed with him. He was a good broker, but we were just pissed because it was like, man, you should have thought about us sooner. So then we go to another broker, right? The broker that we go to is somebody that our actual realtor referred us to. So we go to the lady, we're talking to her and stuff like that. She's asking all of these questions. The whole point of refinancing, I'm not a realtor. I'm just telling you what I know and what I experienced. When you buy a home, you always want to try to refinance, especially if the market is looking good, because you can get a lower interest rate. You want to get the lowest interest rate possible. So we were at a 5% interest rate. We were trying to get lower. I think she was going to give us like a 3. So we were trying to fight for that. So she said, all right, we're going to send out an appraiser. She sends out an appraiser. What ends up happening is the appraiser comes out, he's looking, he's asking questions about certain materials in the house, things of that nature. He gets nosy about my studio and all my music equipment and what do I do and all this other drama, just to come back later. And the lady sounds very disappointed after the appraisal. And she goes, yeah, apparently it's not going to be enough. The reason why they send out an appraiser is so that way you can see if you have enough equity in your home to absolve your FHA loan that you have to pay back as well as your mortgage. See, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of first-time home buyers don't know that. You get an FHA loan, they help with your down payment, and it's called down payment assistance, and that gets tapped on to the end of your payments of your home. So you get a $400,000 house and you had down payment assistance. After that $400,000, all that interest that build up over the time that you own that home, you pay that back as well. So you could pay off $400,000 and have $40,000 left over that you still have to pay back because it gains interest over the years. That's why you want a lower interest rate. And that's why you want it to all be one loan. So that's what we were trying to do. Take the equity, absolve that FHA loan and be under one whole lump sum that you have to pay back. So they said we didn't have enough equity. That was weird because we paid a supplemental tax, which is something a lot of people don't know when they first buy a home. It's all information, but it's so much information you don't read it all. So we're like, how do we not have enough equity? We've been in here for a while, whatever. So the lady just stops talking to us. She don't pick up the phone or anything. So now me and my wife are like, F this, hot. This feels like some racism. She was like, man, we should have lied about the floors. And so it was like, we're not going to lie and say we got hardwood when we don't. But anyways, what ends up happening is we were a little discouraged. Go back to the same realtor that referred this lady, and he refers us to the same company as the original broker that dropped the ball. And he introduced us to another guy and this lady. They are cool. They're looking up our information. They look up our employment history. Okay, you guys both been at your jobs for a long time. All of this stuff. They don't even send out an appraiser. They're like, everything's looking good. We're not even going to send out an appraiser. We see that your home should still have not only equity, but this much equity. We just need your paperwork by this time. We send the paperwork off, and not on top of sending the paperwork off, we went from a 5% interest rate to a 2.9%. And the other mortgage company that they bought off to take over the loan owed us a couple $1,000s back, which we had to fight like Jack Sparrow and Captain Barbosa to get that money, but we even got money coming back. So we do have a personal experience, sir, where this has actually happened to us, and we knew that didn't make any sense, that it didn't sound right. We're in California. Like, a cardboard box is going to have equity because it's so expensive out here. But anyways, we're going to keep going.
Times literally just did a story talking about the systemic racism that exists within housing appraisals.
Out of 1,000 appraisals, how many times does that happen? Let's just say it happens.
Dude just is making up anything to try to combat the point. Instead of asking how many out of 1,000, bro, that could be a stupid question, because if you take 1,000 and you take them from all 50 states, you can easily make that number look good or bad depending on how you shake that. So that was dude. I don't know. I just feel like he's trolling at this point. I don't think he really cares to be, informed or anything like that.
It is a significant issue in America.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna show you how it impacts generation. When you then get that low appraisal, you then cannot sell your house for the higher value, which then means you are not then taking those proceeds and being able to invest, being able to send your kids to school. The Federal Housing and Finance Agency released 47 million appraisal reports to the public for the first time. The appraisals, which were compiled between 2013 and 2021, present evidence of a persistent, widespread practice in the home appraisal industry to give higher values to homes when the occupants are white and devalue them if the owners are people of color.
That's such bullshit.
Look, look at his face. He's done. He's done. He is done. You hear me? He is done. I would be done too. This is, black folks, I need you guys to listen to me. They don't care. Most of these different communities do not care about our plight until they have to fight a similar fight. I'm just telling you. And I'm not even saying that it's other people's responsibility to care. We should always care about us and our problems more than other people. We should, because they're our problems. But this is what happens when you try to explain things to people that refuse to understand. Not that they can't comprehend or they're lacking some kind of neurological, features. They really don't care. Okay? They don't. But let's keep going.
They actually took the reports and showed the data, and now you call it bullshit. Analyzing the millions of appraisals by using census tracts as a proxy for neighborhoods and comparing communities with nearly identical housing stock. Two researchers found that the results showed a clear correlation. The higher the proportion of white residents in each community, the higher the appraised value of individual homes. For some reason, you're not fully accepting. What is the most consistent way Americans have been able to actually build wealth? It has been through housing. That's been historical.
Well, real estate. And not really just housing, just real estate, owning land. But I mean, like one and the same, but you can own a lot of land and, you can still be him or her. Well,
And you are black in America. This is not a opinion. This is not a perspective. It's a fact.
It is a fact.
It's when you have been unable to enter the housing industry, meaning covenants saying you can't sell to black people. Then when you actually buy a home and they've been grossly undervalued, that then limits you from being able to sell your home at a higher value and now take the profits and then create a business and then be able to send your kids to college. When that has been persistent, when you look at the appraisals, one, when you look at inability where you're buying a house, two, all of a sudden now you see a clear way how African Americans have been impacted, not historically, but still in present day.
Yeah. He's basically keeping it 100. He's telling the truth on that. And see, what people don't understand and what people need to, I'm not even going to say people, I'm going to just say us. What we need to understand as a community is we need to understand how we need to maneuver. We have so many people in so many different spaces, different environments, and we echo the same sentiments, but sometimes some of us are too soft, sometimes some of us are too aggressive, but the data is there. And what I'm learning just from this exchange is how pointless it is to go back and forth and try to get other people to understand us, other people to understand what our needs are. Matter of fact, I think in those that are close to me personally know how deep I feel about this. I think we're even putting ourselves at risk by having some of these conversations on camera and in public. My mom knows that. My wife knows that. My friends know that. I always, even in the beginning episodes of the Notion podcast, I always believed that we need to stop telegraphing our past, meaning we need to stop showing what our moves are, what our intentions are as far as in bettering our communities. Because you know what? All the other communities, you never see the blueprint until things are built and sustained. You never see the process. They're quiet, they're observant, and they move. One of my favorite lines is a Lil Wayne line when he said, "Real G's move in silence like lasagna." Now, I know a lot of people are going to think that's stupid because it went right over your head, but I definitely think we should be moving in silence just like that. We can have open discussions about what's happened and what's happening as far as in negative scenarios, but I really believe that we got to take what we learned from the civil rights movement and we got to say, you know what? They were successful, they were smart, they carried themselves well, but we talked about what we wanted to do and where we wanted to be, and that gave other groups enough opportunity and time to figure out how to destroy and dismantle that. So talking to other people about our problems, some people do care. There's some people in other cultures, regardless if you're white, black, Indian, whatever the case, they actually do care. They do understand. They maybe can relate. We just can't have that expectation for one of them or any of them to actually understand and contribute. But we do know that those people exist, but it's a minority of people in those communities that care. So we have to pick up the ball and learn how to shoot. We have to make decisions. We have to create our own protection and everything like that. I'm already saying too much, but this is a great example of what happens when you're trying to talk to people about your plight and your fight, and they don't care because they don't have to fight yet. And we're seeing that in this country now, that certain groups are being targeted and certain groups are being treated very harsh. And to us, it's like, welcome to the club. It's been our story in America. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Leave likes, subscribe. Let's really have a deep, respectful dialogue about this kind of conversation. Please be respectful. I don't want to have to get disrespectful. You've been tuning in to Thoughts of Dizzy. Until next time, peace.